It's me, Ivan Hunt. I'm the host of the talk radio show called Keep It Moving. And what is Keep It Moving all about? Keep It Moving is all about inspiring and motivating, encouraging, and empower people to take ownership over their life, but also to take control over their life so they can live a life full of purpose, passion, and meaning. So this is what I call the post-show wrap-up. And, my guest earlier, and if you missed the first part of the show, I'll also have the link in the, in the bottom. But this is Kyle Elliott, otherwise known, AKA Caffeinated Cow. I love that name. I just love saying Caffeinated Cow. It just reminds me of Charlie Murphy. But Cal, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Again, real quick, for those who didn't see the first part of the show.
Yeah, so I'm a career coach. So everything I do is centered on helping people find jobs they love, or at least tolerate. So it's resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn. Everything I do is really just to help people find jobs they love. So some people are just out of college or even in college, and I'm helping them find jobs they love. Other people, they're executives, Fortune 100, Fortune 500 executives, and I'm helping them navigate their careers. So wherever people are in their careers and in their lives, I'm helping them navigate that. So a lot of the people I work with are high performing. Everyone assumes when you reach out to a career coach, you're unemployed, but a lot of the people I work with are employed and they're just looking to take their career to the next level. So I come in and ask them the difficult questions in order to really navigate their career and navigate their life.
And what causes people to reach out to you? So if they're high performers, so you said you work with a lot of high performers and executives, why would they reach out to you?
Yeah, I think they just get to a point where they don't know where to go next. They're like, okay, I feel like I've tried everything I can. I've used all my resources. I've used everything I know what to do, and now I'm stuck. So I ask them those difficult questions. Okay, what are you afraid to ask yourself? What questions are you afraid for me to ask you? And going from there, really asking those challenging questions and exploring what's going on in their minds. And I think that has really helped people open up and explore areas they haven't tried before. And a lot of people reach out to me because they're at this transition in their life. They're like, okay, I don't know if I want to start my own business. Or I've had my own business for 10 years and now I want to go work for someone else. How do I market or brand myself? Right. So it's really exciting to work with people who are in those transitions and they don't know what to do. And they're also high performing. So they come to me and they're like, Kyle, I'm used to making the decisions. I'm not used to someone questioning me why all the time. So it's exciting to really work with them and navigate that. And they reach out to me because they're stuck and they're looking to get unstuck. So I ask the questions to get them unstuck.
And what do you usually find they come to you, you ask us those tough questions. These are people who really aren't used to people questioning them, much less having to answer why. What kind of revelations do they really have throughout this process of them, changing careers or changing positions?
Yeah, a lot of people realize they're really tied to their career and a lot of their worth is tied to their career. So that's difficult for them when they realize they're switching careers. It's not just their career, but it's their life. So that a lot of their worth is tied to that. They also realize, okay, this is my mortgage. This is my kids' college tuition, all of that. So it's difficult for them. And then they also realize that change is not easy. So it's not just their career, but it's all their friends at work. It's everything outside of work is often tied to their career. So since they're spending so many of their waking hours at work, and then also when they're not at work, they're constantly thinking about work. So I think that's one of the most challenging things people face is all that change, and it's stressful and anxiety inducing. And then it's exciting, but that excitement is also anxiety producing. So I help them navigate that and be like, okay, how do we deal with this change and really embrace the positive aspects, but also deal with any of those negative aspects that are stressful as well.
And how do they get, because I've been in corporate too. And one of the things I used to say, one of the things I noticed about a lot of senior level executives or C-suite individuals was, their title, they were the title, right? Versus, the title made them versus them making the title. And that was one of the things I always said that, I will not allow to happen to me, that, I will not be defined by my title, but the power that comes with it. It's intoxicating, and it's really hard before you know it not to be the title in which you hold. How do you help them to detach from that title?
Yeah, I think my favorite question is why, asking them why are they so attached to that title. And then once they give that answer, okay, asking why again and again and again. And people end up realizing it's often rooted in something deeper. It's confidence issues, or it's something in childhood, or it's wanting to prove something and figuring that out. And then for other people, it's just wanting to give back to help people or figuring that out. So some people really turn to their career in order to boost their confidence. Other people turn to their career in order to help people. So recognizing the reason behind it and addressing those reasons rather than just saying, okay, I want a title to want a title, but I want a title and here's why, and making sure that we go to that really root of the why as we explore their career has really been helpful. And I think that helps people understand that. And then I always bring that back up anytime we explore questions, saying, okay, you say everything you're doing is because of your family, and that's why you want the title. Okay, well, we're making this other career decision where you want to start a business. You're not going to have the big title. Is that still okay with you? And they're like, well, I want a title. I was like, well, you said you really want to spend more time with your family. So do you want a title or do you want your family? And they realize the title wasn't about the title, it was about their family. So I love getting to that why and using that to inform our decision making.
And you know, my wife and I had this discussion last night. Last night was our date night. And we were talking about, you know, my transition from corporate to being a transformational coach. And, you know, the financial shift that I've had to take. You know, I left, you know, a six-figure position to start over as an entrepreneur. And it's you know, it's a shocking transition sometimes. And so we really started looking at, you know, she pointed out to me that, okay, maybe you're not making what you were, but look at all the things that you have gained that you really can't put a monetary value on. You know, the time, you know, our date nights, my relationship with my kids have improved greatly. You know, the first 4 years of my daughter's life, I went to 2 of her doctor's appointments. And, you know, so for the last 15 months, I've been able to actually go and participate and be in their school and take her to school and pick her up, take her to gymnastics and stuff like that. How then do you present that aspect of it to your clients?
I often ask people what they want people to say about them at their funeral. And it's a little morbid, but when you get to the root of that, that really figures out what motivates people. So for me, something that's really important about me is family. So I hope at my funeral, people talk about how I was a family person. So when I make decisions, it's about my family. I actually have a post-it up on my bulletin board that talks about family. I'm also really big about free time. So I love traveling and all that. And then my third value is money, because money allows me more free time and allows me to spend time with my family. So I ask people that question really early on. What do you want people to say about you at your funeral? And by asking that, we really get to the root of kind of that legacy people want to leave, but also how they want to move through life. And then I always bring that up during every coaching session. Okay, you say your values are, for me, family, free time, money. Okay, you're making this decision. How does that align with your values? And making sure our daily tasks, our yearly goals, our 3 to 5 year plan, and our life goals all align with those initial values. And then if they're not, maybe either 1, changing our daily tasks, or 2, seeing, are those really our values? Or they're just those values that we think we're supposed to have, and maybe we need to shift what our values are and actually reassess them and say, maybe these aren't my values, but they're just what I thought my values should be, and reassess and say, actually, these are my true values.
And you know, I'm glad you brought that back up, because, you know, I told her, I said I was very impressed, because when I asked you during the show, the live show, you know, what was important to you, and you instantly knew what your top 3 values were. And very few people can really, you know, tell you right without hesitation, without thinking, okay, here's the 3 things that's most important to me: family, fun, and money. And the reason why money, because in order for me to enjoy these other things, I have to have that income in order to do it, to have that freedom. And it really got me thinking a lot, because I focus a lot on values, you know, in my coaching. And I had to kind of stop and say, okay, Ivan, what really are your top 3 values? I can give you my 10 values, you know, that are things that are really important to me, but what are my top 3? So you kind of even inspired me to dig a little bit deeper and say, okay, what are the 3 things that's really important to me? And mine came up to be family, service, and then, you know, finances. And in order to be able to do certain things, you got to have that financial support, et cetera, et cetera. What's the most enjoyable aspect of what you do?
I love the fact, and I work with a lot of people one-on-one, so that's fun. I also do workshops and speaking engagements, but I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I post a lot, and I think what's fun is every day I probably get a dozen or so messages from people I've never talked to one-on-one. They're following me, or they're just a connection of a connection, and they
Right.
say, "Hey, Kyle, I got a new job as a result of following your advice."
Uh-huh.
And I've never talked to them one-on-one, but the advice I provide or the suggestions I've given or an article I wrote impacted them, and they followed that, and I was able to change their life. So everything I do comes back to me wanting to help people. That's why I do the work I do, and specifically around jobs, because our job is what we do most. We spend most of our time working. So it's exciting when people I've never interacted with, I'm able to impact their life.
Right.
So I think that's the most exciting part, is knowing that I'm impacting people's lives. And those are just the people that reach out to me. So I think, okay, maybe I impacted someone's life even in a small way and they never told me. And I think that's exciting, knowing I'm able to have that impact on people who I never talked to one-on-one. Because a lot of people are reading what I'm saying, and a lot of people are viewing it. So it's exciting knowing I'm able to impact all these people.
How did you go about? Because you have a huge following on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think it was just delivering value and content and breaking some rules. I think there's a lot of people on LinkedIn who say they're LinkedIn experts or gurus or whatnot. And there's these rules where, okay, you post twice a week or 3 times a week, or you have to do this or that. And I just tried different things. I'm like, let me try posting this or that, or let me try anything comes up on my mind. So I don't have a content calendar. I don't have any specific, like, here's what I'm going to post. When I have a thought that comes in my mind, I just post it, and people like that. So I was with my parents, and I was like, let me do a video with my parents. I'm at Starbucks, and I heard some people interacting. Let me post it on LinkedIn. So I just post these things, and I think people can resonate with that.
Right.
And really appreciate that honest advice, because I think I'm giving advice people need to hear, compared to, okay, here's this personal branding advice that doesn't really have any impact. I'm actually saying, here's what you need to do to get a job. Here's what you need to do to enjoy life. And it's relatable compared to kind of abstract without application. But I'm saying, no, here's tangible steps you can take to get a job and live a life you love.
Good. So we kind of touched on this a little bit on the first show about where you see yourself in a few years from now.
Yeah.
I want to spin that scenario a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody's just got a position, right? It was something that they really wanted. They're there in that position 6 months, 12 months. All of a sudden, they realize, okay, wait a minute, I've made a mistake. This is not what I thought it was going to be. I did my due diligence. What do I do now? I'm stuck. What happened?
Yeah. That happened to me. So I worked at Navos in Seattle. It was the best job I've ever had by far. I think it competes equally with running caffeinatacala.com. If they were in San Francisco in the Bay Area, I would stop doing caffeinatacala.com and go back to Navos. They're a mental health nonprofit. They're deeply committed to social justice. Amazing work. But I left them in order to come back to California and work for this organization, the Silicon Valley, that was raising money for health. And my job was to manage all events for this foundation and raise money. So it seemed like the ideal job. Every year they were raising more and more money. They helped all these people. I networked. I reached out to a bunch of people. Everyone said it was a great org. I had my interviews, and then I moved from Seattle to California for this job. So it wasn't just like a little step. It was a big job, big raise, a lot more responsibility. I got there, week 1, I knew it was the absolute worst job, not meant for me. The CEO, I left the office for 10 minutes to get coffee, and he was like, where were you? Your calendar needs to be updated minute by minute what you're doing. I also looked into their database of fundraising, and all the numbers they had given me during my interview about how much they had raised were all lies. And not like rounding errors, but like by hundreds of thousands of dollars. The number of people they say they helped, they said it was like 40,000. It was actually 10,000. So like a lot of stuff that was really off and didn't sit with me morally. So week 1, I started looking for a new job. So I would encourage people that the whole rule that you have to stay at a job for a year or 2 is arbitrary. There's plenty of reasons to leave a job, and recognize that you have to look out for you. An employer can get rid of you at any time if you're at will. And you have to look out for yourself and say, if it's time for me to leave, I have to look out for myself. If you look at any recruiter's LinkedIn, profile, like 80 to 90% of them, their average stint is 3 or 6 or 9 months. So they're not going to be looking at you and saying, oh, you've only been here for a few months. They've been in the same boat, and they're going to ask you a question, say you were only there for 3 months. And you can say, you know what? Here's why, and explain it without bashing the company, but you can explain it. So I encourage people to just look out for themselves, because I've had to do that before. Thankfully, it only happened once, but I've had to do it before.
Hopefully you can answer this question for me too. What is career suicide as far as when you stay with a company? Because I've heard, if you stay longer than 5 years, and especially as you close in closer to that 10-year mark, you pretty much have committed career suicide. What does that mean to you?
I've heard people talk about career suicide when someone's at a company for a long time. People are worried about growth. I recently worked with a candidate that was at a company for 17 years, and then they were recruited to Facebook. So what we did is we focused on, here's what I've done and progressed over the last 17 years, the different positions that I've held, the achievements and the accomplishments. So I encourage people, if they have been somewhere for a while, to show how they've progressed and grown and focus on the results. And even if someone's only been somewhere for a year, focus on those results. But the initial instinct people are going to have if you've been somewhere for 17 years is the why. Why were you there for 17 years? Why didn't you go somewhere else? So just have a story ready. I think it goes back to the why. Anytime someone looks at your resume, your LinkedIn, at you and your story, they want to know the why. Okay, why were you there 17 years? Why were you only there 17 months? And just have the whys ready and be able to communicate that story.
Okay. We're about to wrap it up, because I think we're, because the gist of this is not to keep it an hour long, but rather, fairly short and brief. And I know you got other things to do, and I want to say thank you again for being on the show. What would you like for the listening audience to know about you, and how can they contact you?
Yeah, I would love for them to connect with me on LinkedIn or follow me on LinkedIn. I share a lot of advice on there. I think oftentimes people are a little overwhelmed by the advice. They're like, I feel like I should be paying for all the status updates or stuff. A lot of people can't afford my one-on-one coaching services, so they just follow me on LinkedIn. They're like, literally just from watching your statuses or reading your articles, I've been able to get a job. So I encourage people to just do that and recognize there's a lot of resources out there and not get overwhelmed. So just stick to a few and spend an hour a day job searching. Don't turn it into a full-time job. It can get overwhelming. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed. So set a timer, 60 minutes a day or 2 hours a day. Have that job search and just go from there. So I encourage people to follow me on LinkedIn, and then caffeinatedkyle.com. They can check me out on there.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you so much for having me again.
No, my pleasure, Kyle. And again, I love the name Caffeinated Kyle. I saw it, I was like, that's it. I've got to get this guy on the show. And for those that of you who are watching, hey, look, I apologize about my lighting situation. I usually record my videos in a different location in my home, but my daughter was coming, and I knew that she was going to run right in the smack dab in the middle of the interview, and there was no way. And this was the best I could do. So thank you for working with me. And that's what it is. It's all about being real and authentic, and it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, again, Kyle, thank you. And hey, if you want to learn more about me, you can find me at ivanhunt.com, or you can email me at coach@ivanhunt.com. You can probably find me more on LinkedIn as well, because that's how I met Kyle. And you can find me there on LinkedIn as Ivan Hunt. With that being said, hey, keep it moving, baby. Peace.